Welcome to Lunch with the Lord. I'm Pastor Mark. We're in Judges chapter 11. We're going to be starting in verse 29 this lesson. But before we begin, Jeremiah 15:16, Thy words were found, and I did eat them, and thy word was unto me the joy and the rejoicing of my heart. Now, last lesson we looked at Jephthah was trying to make an attempt for a peaceful diplomacy with the king of Ammon so that people would not be killed. But the king of Ammon, basically, he is sticking to his plan. He wants the land back, and he doesn't want any peaceful diplomacy. And if it means war, well, then it means war. He obviously thinks he can defeat Jephthah and his army, and he is not going to turn around and look for another solution. So now we come into verses 29 through 31, and this deals with Jephthah's vow. Now, let's read 29 to 31. And it says here, Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpah of Gilead, and from Mizpah of Gilead he passed over unto the children of Ammon. And Jephthah, he vowed a vow unto the Lord, and he said, If you will without fail deliver the children of Ammon into my hands, then it shall be that whatsoever comes forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace, from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. Now, in verse 29, the Spirit of the Lord comes upon Jephthah to go to battle against the Ammonites. Now, there are three possible reasons why the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. Number one, to validate from God that Jephthah was Israel's next judge. Number two, because he gave himself to the Lord. So a second reason why the Spirit of the Lord came upon him is because he willingly submitted and gave himself fully to God. And number three, because the king of Ammon rejected Jephthah's peaceful solution. Therefore, God's judgment would come upon him. So again, it could be one of these reasons, could be all of these reasons why the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. But now it's time for battle. God's Spirit comes upon Jephthah to lead the army of the Gileadites and the people on the army from the east side of the Jordan River against the children of Ammon. When Jephthah is actually asked to be the leader over Israel, he is probably still in the land of Tob. Again, we don't know for sure, but it seems that he is in the land of Tob. As he comes down to war against the Ammonites, he passes through Gilead and Manasseh and Mizpah, probably to gather up men to go to war with him. So, again, I can see the scenario where everything that he agrees to, he's still up in Tob and he hasn't come down to Gilead yet. And when he finally agrees to go against the Ammonites and to be the leader of the Gileadites, that he then comes down and gathers people on his way down to fight in this war. It's very possible that he was already down in Gilead and talked with them face to face and made this agreement. And then he circled around up Manasseh and around Gilead and came back down gathering men. But again, it seems that it's possible he was still in Tob when he was agreed to this, to go to war against Ammon and be the leader. As Jephthah comes with his army to set up camp to do battle with Ammon, he vows a vow unto God. Now, I've decided to not get into this vow very deeply. As I was studying this vow and different commentators on the vow, I found out that there are differing views on the wording of the vow, and also on the fulfilling of the vow. Scholars differ as to whether he actually sacrificed his daughter or not. One scholar believes that because of spending so much time in Syrian territory where human sacrifices took place, that Jephthah intentionally wanted a person to come out of his house first so that he could sacrifice a person. Now, other scholars say that it would be against God's law, and therefore it was never intended. He never intended a person to come out. Again, there's very well-known scholars, and they differ on what this vow means and what actually took place. And again, I'll read. It says here, it's in verse 31, and it shall be that, some of the scholars believe, it says, and it shall be that whatsoever comes forth out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's. And then in the King James Version, it says, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. But some of the scholars say that word shouldn't be and, it should be or. So that Jephthah would be saying that when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, it shall surely be the Lord's, or I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So some of the scholars that don't believe Jephthah killed his daughter think that he made this vow so that if an animal came out, he would sacrifice the animal. But if a person came out, he would sacrifice, not sacrifice, but he would dedicate that person to be the Lord's. So again, it's all wishy-washy as to what really took place. It is not absolutely clear what Jephthah meant in his vow and whether his daughter was actually sacrificed or not. Or maybe she was just consecrated to do God's service, to be a virgin for the rest of her life. That's what most of the commentators think. That Jephthah, when he came home, his daughter came out, and Jephthah dedicated her to the service of God, to be a virgin the rest of her life. So again, not sure. Now let's read verses 32 and 33. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands. And he smote them from Aroer even till you come to Minnith, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards, even a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. Now Jephthah takes his army up against the Ammonites, and the Lord delivers them into his hand. God was able to deliver the Ammonites into Jephthah's hand. Why? Because now Jephthah had given himself into God's hand. Because Jephthah humbled himself into the hands of God, God delivered the children of Israel into his hands. This defeat of the Ammonites validated that God accepted and used Jephthah as, I say, Israel's next king, next judge or deliverer. But really, he wasn't anointed. I shouldn't say anointed. He didn't make an agreement to be the judge over all of Israel. It was just Gilead. But God did validate that, yes, Jephthah was the man, and I'm behind him. Now, in verse 33, the places that are named were east of the Dead Sea and east of the Jordan River, about 10 to 15 miles east. Jephthah subdues the Ammonites and he has no intention of taking all of their land and ruling over them. Jephthah just wants to free Israel from the oppression of the Ammonites. That's all he wants to do. He's not like other leaders, like Abimelech, who wanted to be king and ruler over people. He had this power lust within him. No, Jephthah's not like that. Jephthah just wants to deliver the children of Israel out of the oppression of the Ammonites and then have them go home, and we'll stay in our land, and you won't bother us anymore. And that's all he seems to want to have done. Now let's read verses 34 to 40. And it says here, "And Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances, and she was his only child. Besides her, he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and thou art one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back. And she said unto him, My father, if you have opened your mouth unto the Lord, well then do unto me according to that which you have proceeded out of your mouth. For as much as the Lord has delivered, has taken vengeance for you of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father, Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone for 2 months, that I may go up and down upon the mountains and bewail my virginity, and I and my fellows. And he said, Go. And he sent her away for 2 months. And she went with her companions and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months that she returned unto her father, and did with her according to his vow, which he had vowed. And she knew no man. And it was a custom in Israel, that the daughters of Israel went every year to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite 4 days in a year. Now, again, I'm not going to get into Jephthah's vow, but I do want to give you some questions to consider concerning the puzzling nature of Jephthah's vow. Remember, a couple lessons ago, we got into Jephthah, that his father Gilead brought him up in the ways of the Jews. He knew his history, and I think he knew, how can I say, I don't know that he was a staunch religious person, but I think he kind of had a rough side to him. But he did know Israel's history, and I think he did understand the law of God to some degree. So, with that in mind, number one, what was Jephthah expecting to come out of his house? When he made the vow, what was he expecting to walk out of the house? Number two, what if a friend or a neighbor's child came out first, would he have the right to kill them because he made the vow? Number 3, what if a friend or a neighbor's husband came out of the house? Right? You kill the husband and the rest of the family doesn't have anything. What if a husband came out? Number 4, what if an unclean animal came out first? That's not right. You can't sacrifice an unclean animal unto God. That's unacceptable to God. Can't do that. Number 5, what right would Jephthah have to sacrifice any of these things to God and think that God would accept that sacrifice? God is definitely against murder and the breaking up of a family. He is also against unclean sacrifices. So what if the neighbor's husband came out of the house first? What if the husband and the wife and the kids were visiting his daughter and the husband comes out first? God's against breaking up the family. What if the neighbor's young daughter or son came out? So again, this very puzzling, this vow as to what he was expecting to come out of his house when he came home. Jephthah's vow is very unclear, and scholars are very much divided as to what really happened. In verse 40, did the daughters of Israel lament Jephthah's daughter because she was dead, or because she was shut up to live the life of a virgin? Now, the Hebrew word for lament actually means to sing praise. It means to celebrate. So again, it's not clear. Did the daughters of Israel come there and sing praises and celebrate her death? Or did they celebrate that she was given unto God the rest of her life to live as a virgin, to serve God? All right, we're going to continue in chapter 12 next lesson. But until then, walk with the Lord. I know he walks with you.